Thank you so much again for everyone for taking the time to join us today. We very much appreciate the work that you're all doing in your communities in varying roles. We're pleased to be at this point in time. It's been a long time getting here for all of us, so we're very much looking forward to the road ahead. So in the spirit of reconciliation, FRRR acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples that are joining us today. Kate and I are joining you all from Dja Dja Wurrung country in Bendigo. And we very much appreciate the care and custodianship that the Dja Dja Wurrung have had for our beautiful country here for millennia. Shannon, we can head on to the next one. Just a little bit of a quick rundown on what we'll go through today. So you guys, pardon me, said in the last session that you were keen to have a bit of a community showcase. So we thought we'd kick that off for you and get those discussions starting and start to share amongst you as a group on, the different pieces of work that all of you are doing as organisations, and both within the Helping Regional Communities Prepare for Drought initiative program that you're all a part of. So this week's presentation will be from the wonderful Kate from Riverine Plains in Mulwala, but I won't go into too much detail about that. Kate will give you a bit more of a rundown. We'll have an update. Nina was going to join us today. She's had some other matters that she needs to attend to, so it's the rest of the team will be picking up bits and pieces and sharing the word. So it'll be a good opportunity for us to talk about the little bits and pieces that we do within the program as well, in supporting you in delivering your projects and the overall initiative. Pardon me, and then we'll hand over to the wonderful Leslie Vick from ARLF to give you an update on all things ARLF. So, and she's also accompanied by the just as wonderful Gemma Rostron. So having said that, I would like to first and foremost thank Kate Coffey of Riverine Plains for stepping up to the plate for us, first cab off the rank. From my experience of working with Kate for the last 12 months, like so many of you, Kate's been a wonderful connection into the community. She has a passion for all things across her region, both into New South Wales and Victoria. Pardon me. And is really a wonderful advocate for all things community. So with no further ado, Kate, you want to pop your camera off and we'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Fiona. So thank you for that lovely introduction. And today I'm just going to a bit of an overview of our project in the Riverine Plains. And it's been really great working with FRRR, Fiona and Nina and the team that have provided a lot of support and guidance starting probably over the last 12 months. So I'll just launch into what we've been up to here in the Riverine Plains and really thank you for giving us this opportunity. So just a bit of background, we are a farming systems group located in Mulwala, which is on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. So we're on the Murray River. At this point, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which the Riverine Plains work and live, which includes the Yorta Yorta Nation, Wiradjuri people and the Pangarang people, and just to acknowledge the elders past, present and emerging that we're working with in the region and that we'd like to work with. So at Riverine Plains, our mission is to be a trusted partner in farming excellence. So we have members which are primary producers that we work with, but we also work with the wider community as shown by this project we're working on. How we're doing it in the region is by growing farmer prosperity. So prosperity includes financial prosperity, but it also includes non-financial aspects as well, which includes having the the youth and the workforce in the region and making it a nice place to be to attract that workforce. And it also includes a working environment that is safe, that people are happy to work in and feel confident that they're being looked after. So that is how we're doing it. And what we're doing is by building knowledge and skills of our members as well as the larger community. Currently, we've got 432 farming members across 15 local government areas in both Victoria and New South Wales. So I wanted to give a bit of a background because we were fortunate enough we were successful in receiving the first round of funding. And why I'm giving this background is because it's actually what we did in the first round of funding with the FRRR has informed some of the stuff we're now doing through the Community Impact Program. So this first round of funding was called Improving Social Networks for Drought Resilience Round 1, and it was in 2021 and 2022. And what we did was we held workshops on drought preparation with 23 community groups across our region. We had 572 people attend these workshops, and the participants that completed a survey, which was 26% of those 572, they self-assessed as more prepared for drought as a result of the workshops. So you can see on the right there the photos of a couple of the workshops we ran. So some are out in the paddocks, some are in halls with all different groups of community across the region. But I just have a little quote there about those workshops from one of the attendees, that basically the drought preparation workshop was a great opportunity to connect with local farmers and share ideas. It highlighted for me the importance of having flexibility in our operating system and timely decision making. Most importantly, and reinforce the valuable network we have around us and how this too is important to help build resilience. Thank you to Riverine Plains facilitating this event. So I think that slide just shows that the key sort of message there is the valuable networks, and I think that really sort of speaks to what FRRR and the FDF are trying to do with this project, is to reinforce those networks and community connections for when we do come back into those drought periods. So as a result of those workshops and people attending through those workshops, we identified a few gaps in terms of those social networks through the feedback from the attendees. So I think one of them was around farmers being able to implement their drought preparation strategy in a local setting. So I think that's, there's all the research and all the information, but then how does that come back down to an individual level? And I think we have the opportunity through the drought hubs to do more of this. Another thing that came up was keeping intensive industry in the region, basically to attract youth back to the region, because with those intensive industries, you get lots of jobs. A barrier, obviously, to those social networks is the poor telecommunications that we've got in some of our areas and roads. Another gap that we identified was the support and training for the trusted advisor, which is the person that is often spending a lot of time with the farmer one-on-one, especially during a drought. So that's your agronomists, stock agents, bankers and accountants. So we felt that this group of people potentially would need some training around mental health and referring people to those services if required, and also knowing how to look after themselves, because they're often taking on some of the stress of the farmers or people impacted by drought. The other thing that came up was recognising the impact of drought on children on farms, because some people noted that the adults are dealing with the issues and sometimes the children may not fully understand, what's going on and why certain, the parents may be a little bit stressed. So we identified that as an issue. Another area we identified as a potential room for improvement is working with traditional owners to share some of their traditional practices with landholders to help with climate adaptation. And then social connection and training for the younger farmers that are coming back. They've been, away at university or working and now coming back to the farms. So helping them with social connection and training to manage the farms through these different climatic times, and also social connection and training for connecting rural women. So that was some of the things that came out of that first round of funding, which I'll talk through how we're addressing some of those in this next round. So with the next round of funding, which Riverine Plains were successful as the project lead for the Goulburn region, which is Region 31, under the banner of the Community Impact Program, we have 5 projects across the region. So we have the Youth in Ag project, which is run by our organisation, Riverine Plains, as well as the Ladies Luncheon, also run by Riverine Plains. We have the Secondary Schools program, which is being run by the Gecko Clan, the Citizen Science project by the Hughes Creek Catchment Collective, and an Indigenous festival, which is being managed by Many Mobs. So just on the right there, there's some photos from the Ladies Luncheon, which we held back on International Women's Day. And that was a really great event to bring that social connection together for women across our region. We had 105 women attend, and we had some great speakers. And the topic of the day was about resilience and how those speakers had experienced certain events in their lives and how they got through those sort of times that are a bit tough. And I think that was really helpful for other women to see, you know, examples of how other people had got through sort of the hard times and what were some of the strategies they used to get through those hard times. So that was really great to have that first ladies luncheon that we had in back about a month ago. Challenges and solutions. So some of the challenges I've found as the project lead is establishing connections with the groups that we're now involved with, because it's Landcare and Indigenous groups that we previously, and community group that we previously hadn't been involved with, so we didn't have any personal connection or relationship with. So, and we're quite geographically diverse. So Mulwala is from our furthest partner, which is the Hughes Creek Catchment Collective. I think it's about probably nearly 2 hours away. So how we've gone about trying to get that connection across the groups that are involved is we're having a bi-monthly Zoom meeting where we catch up for about an hour and we just quickly run through where people are at with their projects, and also any other information in relation to the ARLF and other the surveying that's being done through the FRRR. So that's one way of connecting with the other groups. And the other way I've done it is we actually had a face-to-face meeting at Dookie at the Drought Hub about a month ago, where we did our monitoring and evaluation training. So that was a great opportunity. It was central to all the groups for us to get together and meet face-to-face. So I think that's something that I've been trying to work on, is to build those relationships. The other challenges we've had is some of the individuals within the group have had some stumbling blocks in terms of their project. So where possible, I've helped them with introductions to people that can help where they're potentially having a stumbling block. So one of our groups was wanting to do a schools program. So I was able to introduce her to the local vice principal to talk about the program she's wanting to run, because I had a personal relationship. So I think, when you've got your own networks and can share them with other people, it can help overcome build those cross connections within the group, so that then you're building the whole connections of the group you're working with to help them achieve their projects. The other thing we've tried to do across the groups is cross promotion of our projects. So so there we can get greater impact. So for example, the ladies luncheon, we cross-promoted with the other groups and organised a bus to come from the region where one of the other groups was, just to make it easier for more people to come. And then again, where the other projects have an event on, we will promote it through our network. So just trying to get more people attending those events to get bigger impact by cross promotion of those events. And another way to do that is also to cross promote through the ARLF. So that's been great as well. And just like with the Changemaker series that we're really excited about, it's really been great to have feedback from the members of our group to get the locations. So again, we can fit in with the local people in terms of times and dates, so that we're getting so we can hopefully get really good attendance across the region, not just in one area, given we've got, probably 300k radius, 300 to 400k radius across the region. Just trying to make sure that we're picking up potential groups that may be missing out in other areas to target them. So for example, we're having a workshop at Shepparton, and we're hoping to target some of the fruit growers at that workshop that potentially may not have been able to access other drought funding events. So yeah, just trying to make sure that we're listening and we're using all our connections to get the most impact out of the different projects that are coming as part of the program. Impact. So this is always a hard one to measure impact, but I had a bit of a think about that, and in that photo there, it's actually a photo of the Many Mobs Indigenous Corporation have a bi-monthly catch up with the local community, and I attended that catch up at the Kennedy Park at Yarrawonga about a month ago. Sorry, it was their Christmas party. And just being able to go and be in person at these events, it does help support those groups and also create connections. So we're able to create a connection between the Gecko Land Care group and the Many Mobs, which they'd been struggling to make that connection. So I think when you can actually make that connection or help that connection happen, so then the projects can progress, is just trying to facilitate those connections that sometimes can be hard over the phone. Sometimes face-to-face, I've found, is depending on which group you're working with, can be quite impactful. So where I think we're making impact is basically addressing some of the gaps that we identified in round one of the funding. So one of the gaps was the children and the impact on children in the family. So through the secondary schools program that the Gecko clan are running, they're trying to do they're putting together a program that look at training secondary school children on the impact of drought and also some of the wellbeing impacts of that. So I think it's really exciting that Gecko Clan are putting a project together to roll out next year with some of the local schools. The other gap that we identified in round one is working with traditional owners. So we're endeavouring through the Indigenous Festival, to identify how we can be better connected in that way. The young farmers that we identified in the first round through the Youth in Ag program, which is a mentoring and also just a social networking program, which has been really well received in our region. I think that can help address that social isolation that some of the young ones coming back to the farms might have. And finally, the women's social connections, just the overwhelming response we got from that ladies' luncheon, with having 105 women attend and have really good feedback. I think, it just shows that we're hitting the mark there. So some of the connections that we're building, so with the ladies' luncheon, we're building a connection with the women in the area and the rural financial counselling services. So by having them along, introducing them at the luncheon, and then also doing some follow-up information through our newsletter about the rural financial counselling service and what they do. I think that's going to be really important, that people understand the services that are available and knowing the people they can contact should they need to. the other connections, the excuse me, the Citizen Science Project, which is being run by the Hughes Creek Catchment Collective at Avenel, which is sort of further south from here. That's really exciting because they're working with university students from RMIT in Melbourne. And those university students are helping the Hughes Creek Catchment Collective group to build a dashboard to monitor the health of the water in their catchment. And that's been a really interesting relationship that they've built, because they're using the young guns that know all about social media, and they're sort of advising the people probably more in my age group or a bit older about how to reach the younger generation. So I think that's going to be a great project as that progresses. So they're hoping to increase their social media, double their social media following. And the other goal that they're kicking is they've, as a result of this project, they've got some new volunteers that are partaking in the collection of the data. So again, building those social connections. And finally, the secondary school program, which is being run by the Gecko Clan Land Care Group. That's really exciting because it's linking, not only is it teaching young people about drought and wellbeing during drought and the impact of drought, but it's also linking that in with the Many Mobs Indigenous group. So they're even thinking of potentially having some excursions where they go out on the actual country and talk about drought. So it's going to be really hands-on and sort of exciting there to build those connections. So yeah, I think as this program rolls out, we'll be seeing some really good impacts in our region, and I think it's really good that we've got 2 years to roll it out, because these things take time. They don't happen overnight. So yeah, it's really good to have that support for a 2-year period. So the context of drought in our region. So we've had a significant drought in 17, 18, 19. Some of the things that's probably common across all regions, water shortages, high feed costs, poor grain yields, farm incomes decreased. We've had evidence of people delaying access to healthcare because they're just trying to get through the drought. And then, of course, the mental health impact. There's also employment impacts because put people off during drought. And then you've got the school number impact in the small towns if the employment goes. And then you've also got the impact on the small businesses that are relying on ag. And then we also have seen a reduced volunteerism, because some of those people that would normally volunteer they're tied down to the farm and trying to get water and feed for their livestock. So quite big impacts. So how does our project respond to this and make a difference in the next drought? So I think the biggest thing is increasing these networks. One of the things is increasing networks between the community groups across a wide geographic region. So as I said before, our groups, the furthest one away from me is about 200 k's. And we've got land care, we've got a community group, and we've also got like a farmer producer group and an Indigenous group. So by bringing all those groups together, we can come up with new ideas and new ways of looking at things, and we can share learnings across the group. So I think that network that's formed as part of the FRRR program, and that new network can help us cross-promote and deliver higher, as I said before, deliver higher impact through the social connection. And the other thing, through the individual projects, as well as the ARLF leadership program, I just think it's all about strengthening the existing community networks to help people be more connected. So as I've sort of said before, the leadership program, I think it's going to be a really great opportunity to do that, because you're bringing together those diverse groups, not necessarily all from the one sector. And then through the ladies luncheon and youth and ag and Indigenous and citizen science, the people that attend and partake in those groups, it gives them the opportunity to strengthen their networks and potentially make new connections. So when the next extreme event, which seems to be a bit regular lately, that they have those, they know someone that they can talk to, or they can get someone who can refer to as well. So that was all I had, Fiona. So yeah, over to anyone for questions.
Thanks, Kate. There was actually one question that Elena put up in the chat.
Yeah.
And Elena's asked, there would be some very strong dynamics taking place running a project involving farmers, land care and Indigenous groups, bringing very diverse perspectives together. Was this an issue and how did you manage this?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So I think, I suppose the good thing is that the land care, the producer and the Indigenous, each of those groups has their individual project. So they can maintain their focus, whether it's within their own sector that they're targeting. But yeah, like the actual integration of the different ideas across the groups is where I think where we can actually make impact. So I think it's going to be a slow process because each individual group has diverse ideas. And so I don't think we've really hit the point where we're coming together with ideas that are going to match all those diverse groups. But I think that they're through trying to link the projects and cross-promote. So one of the things I'd be interested in doing that would cross-promote Indigenous and producers is looking at the cool burning, because I think that's something that where Indigenous and producer groups can both learn from each other. So yeah, I think there's ways where we can pick bits between groups where there are sort of shared solutions, but there's definitely different ideas in there. So that's where we've got to be probably respectful of different people's ideas if they're not agreeing with our own. But yeah, just trying to come up with those shared solutions, and that you're totally right. That's the challenge.
Yeah. And I've got to say, I was lucky enough to be able to get up to Dookie and sit in while you guys were doing your co-design. And I remember my drive home just feeling how pleased I was for the region. Every person in the room came into the room with an open heart and open mind. And was really happy to share the discussion. And it was great to see, like you said, Kate, the room was filled with people who hadn't necessarily known each other in the past, but there was so many ideas flying around how they can work together to strengthen their outputs. And that's been, that was quite some months ago. And the work that I've seen that you and your partners in the region have done to date has really proven that there wasn't just room chatter. That was a genuine sentiment in the room, and everyone's followed through on that. So, I'm really pleased that you've been able to facilitate that and drive that. And it's, the commentary that you've fed through in your presentation as well has really reverberated that for me. So thank you. With leaders like you guys in the region, bringing people together, it really is making a huge difference. And it's really nice to see those discussions, like you said, with Many Mobs and Gecko Clan and whatnot, really starting to evolve and start to get some support behind them as well. So not just from yourself, but it's building momentum in the region as well. So thank you and congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks, Fiona. And just to add to that, I think what I've realised is with these relationships that are new, that you haven't had before, you can't expect it sort of to happen overnight either. Like you've got to, and that's why it's good the funding is for 2 years, because it does take time to build that relationship and that trust and to be confident to, share ideas and work together. So definitely a work in progress. So yeah, it'll be interesting at the end of the 2 years to see how far we can come with those relationships.
Yeah. Thanks, Kate. So there's a lot of commentary in the chat, great presentation. Looks like collaboration and partnerships with established community groups really make the big impact. Super interesting to hear how the projects are unfolding. Thank you. Great showcase about the importance of networks. An excellent example, Kate, and best of luck on a great project set. It is a great project set. Does anybody else have any other questions that they wanted to ask Kate? Sorry, Brett, my local boy here in Bendigo has got his hand up. So, Brett, I'll throw to you to ask Kate a question.
Thanks, Fiona. My questions actually might be better answered by yourself. I wanted to thank Kate, obviously, for what she's presented. I value connection really highly. So creating those connections is a great outcome from your own and others involved efforts. I guess my question was more around from my own reporting into the future. To describe our impact as creating connection, is that enough for FRRR and the Future Drought Fund, or do you want more detailed results from those connections that have been created?
Brooke will be touching on reporting later, but Brooke, did you want to answer that question for Brett, or for everyone really?
Hi, Brett. Yes, we have in our reporting we'll be asking to report on two main outcomes of the projects. In terms of the coordination, we have had some questions about that. So I'm considering how we might best. Is that sort of what you mean, the coordination side of it and making those connections from a coordination perspective?
Well, I'll be authentic and genuine at risk of seeming harsh, but I guess what my angle is that it's fantastic to make connections, and it's fantastic for people to increase their networks, because things that come from them can be exponentially fantastic and build on one another, etc. That's great. I guess I'm coming from an angle of reporting to really show bang for buck, I guess, to say, to be able to go to that next step to say, well, we created connections amongst 150 rural women that have led to ongoing networking opportunities between them that support wellbeing, and we have seen an increase in the general wellbeing of women living rurally in this region.
Yeah, certainly we'd like to hear about those types of outcomes and the connections that have been made through projects. We have shared the reporting template and questions within that, so I'm happy to have a discussion about specific questions. But yes, the outcomes of projects and the connection is something we would like to understand from projects.
Thanks, Brooke. What we might do, there's been a few other questions that have popped up about evaluation, but I might just park that for now, everyone, if that's okay. Brooke does actually have that on the agenda a little bit further down the line, so we will absolutely answer those questions for you, just in an effort to try and get through and get some other information through to you as well. So having said that, does anybody have any other questions for Kate at all? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much again, Kate. I'm frantically writing a few bits and pieces down there, so thank you so much. And on that note, I will hand over to my Kate.
Thanks, Fiona. Hi, everyone. I'm Kate, Kate Nolan, the grants operations, the granting coordinator, administration for this program. Who's apparently lost the ability to speak. But I'm just stepping in for Nina, and the team will say a couple of things as well, just to update you on progress of different things. You can go ahead to the next slide there. So just to let you know that the first round of the small network grants are currently under assessment. These are small initiatives to help build drought resilience from a social context in communities. And to also let you know that the 2024-2028 FDF funding plan consultations have now completed. FRRR and ARLF were able to attend a few of them in Tasmania, Queensland, and Victoria. And just last week, we formally submitted our submission. If you would like to have a read of that, it is on our webpage, FRRR webpage, under the Insights section. And just a thank you to everyone who helped to put that together. And so now it is with the department, and we will await response. And then for me, just that next slide, I think there, Shannon. So just to update that the next round of the Small Network Grants program will open in February. It is open for 5-6 weeks. Any LGA outside of a metropolitan area is eligible for grants of up to $20,000, with specific LGAs in New South Wales Far West, NT Tablelands and Arid Lands, Queensland, North Queensland Dry Tropics, and WA Great Southern Regions. Those are from the Community Impact Program. Because no projects are taking place there in the Community Impact Program, they are eligible for grants of up to $50,000. We have some travel coming up in the new year. Some indicative sort of dates and locations there. So just to let you know, please spread the word and get in touch with Fiona or Alicia if you have any questions about that, or would like to pass along the info.
No worries. So just a acknowledgement that we've been promoting the FRRR expertise pool at the moment. You would have seen an email go out a couple of weeks ago looking for specifically recruiting experts. So we've recently had a webinar. I just wanted to give people an update that, you know, we're looking at increasing that reach and like geographical and also expert field representation in the expertise pool. So we're just currently working on that. And so far it's tracking along nicely. I just wanted to give an update on that, but also just remind people that the expertise pool is still available for a free 30-minute consultation. If you have any questions or any I guess you can either go in knowing what the solution is, what you're looking for, or what are the issues that you're looking for to address, with the acknowledgement that there are free resources available through that as well. But other than that, we will continue to speak more on the FRRR expertise pool going into the new year, but I will save that for later. But thank you.
One of the things that we're doing is a bit of a progress check-in every quarter that you or your project contact may have received via email last week. And thank you to all those that have given us a bit of an update. We're just keen to understand how things are going with your project and if there's anything we can do to answer questions or support you in any way. So that's just something we will be doing as a short survey. We have also shared in your Grants Gateway accounts a progress report template and a final report template that will be due obviously at different times, one for progress midway if your project is still underway. If you're finished by this date, you can just complete the final report and acquittal. But all final reports are also in Grants Gateway account to have a look at if you wish to have an idea of the questions that will be asked of the outcomes of the projects. Our community engagement coordinators, Fiona and Alicia, are always available if you have any questions or you wish to give us an update anytime about the projects. And just a little note about we'd love to see anything you'd like to share with us about your projects or things that have been shared on socials or that kind of thing. You can always send us an email via Future Drought to let us know if there are any changes or if you're needing to give us an update or talk to Fiona or Alicia.
Thanks so much, everyone. And thank you, Kate. Really almost key to what we're going to talk about is the idea of connection, networking, and community. So we thought we would just do an update this time on the leadership option, and particularly our change maker. So if I can have the next one, please, Shannon. And I'm not going to give this one. In fact, Gemma is, and then I'm going to talk about networking after. So go, Gemma.
Hi, everyone, and big thanks to Kate. Love that presentation, Kate. And I love the fact that Kate mentioned, you know, she has the bi-monthly workshops with all the project partners. So just to let everyone know that I actually jump onto those workshops with Kate and the project partners, and it's a really great way to connect. And as Kate said, cross-promote the upcoming Changemaker workshops that they have in that region. So Kate and the team at Riverine Plains and all the project partners came together, and we have now got dates for 4 Changemakers commencing in February of 2024. And just to let everyone know, that first workshop's actually nearly full. So this has been a very impactful campaign, and big thanks to Kate and the team at Riverine Plains and the project partners for that. You know, their feedback and role in creating that those workshops and getting them started. So if anyone wants to just reach out, I'm always happy to jump on with your project partners in your region, and it creates a little bit more impactful advertising and marketing campaign across the region. So that's what we aim to do. We want to do that. So just to let you know, we've actually run 4 Changemakers in 4 different regions already in 2023, and then we have another, oh goodness, Leslie, I think there's another 80 booked for the start of next year. So the first half of next year. So what's already coming out of the Changemakers has been so impactful already in those 4 different regions. And we just thought we'd let you know what's already come out of those. So participants feel that they can understand how change happens and gain insights into what it takes to be a positive change agent. And just before we go on, if you don't know what the Changemaker series is, it's a 2-day one-off workshop, and it's for all of the regions. It's not just your project partners or anything to do with your projects or your lead organisations, for everyone in that local, in that region. So that's why we're looking to cross promote these workshops to provide the opportunity to all locals and in the community. And look, we've got a couple of different things, you know, that have come out of that. So finding innovative solutions to complex community issues, that's been a big one. Learning to suspend judgment, build trust and foster authentic dialogue. And the authentic dialogue that are coming out of these workshops, I attended one in Cooktown, has just been absolutely gobsmacking. So, and exploring new approaches and avenues. And our learning manager, Andrew Bryant, for those that didn't meet him on the ARLF webinar that we held about a month ago, we've just got a little video from him also providing some of the learning outcomes from the Changemaker. So I think, Shannon, you've got that there. Yep, I'll be quiet.
Hello, it's Andrew Bryant from the Australian Rural Leadership Foundation, coming to you from Ilfracombe in central West Queensland. I just wanted a moment of your time to talk about the Changemaker workshop that we're rolling out in many regions across Australia. So many people these days wanting to mobilise change in their communities around opportunities and issues are frustrated by how difficult it can be. So we want to give you 2 days where you can step back from an issue, look at it from a fresh perspective, try to focus on progress rather than just solutions. We often face complex opportunities, complex problems. If they were simple, they would have been solved already. So we're going to be spending some time diving into how to step back, how to gather around in conversation and hear different perspectives, how to look at small innovations and probes that can be used to make progress rather than just looking for blanket solutions. I look forward to seeing you at one soon.
Thanks. And don't you love the way we styled that and did Andrew's hair for that one? I think it's fantastic. He was out in the middle of a field, but you can see that it's a very authentic experience. Andrew is one of the facilitators as well, so he's learning as he goes. So those of you who've got Changemaker to come, you'll benefit from all this on-ground experience. But people have also asked about how they can be included or what will be coming after this. And really for us, the key has been the Changemakers the other leadership options. Also mentoring. I'll just mention mentoring. The first round is, they're having their graduation tomorrow. The second round goes on until next year. We are planning more mentoring if you missed that. And then we've got our learning network, which is called Drought Ready. You are all eligible to join this because you're part of one of these drought programs. If you haven't, please do. You can use that QR code. You can get in touch with us and we can put you in touch with the network. It's run as a Facebook group, and awesome people, including a lot of you, and Kate has been on there and has already shared what's happening in your region and just calling out what you might need or what you might be interested in. So please do join. I think we're up to 300 and something now. You join by QR code, you answer a simple question about where your postcode is, and then you're in, and that's it. And then you can start interacting with people from these programs, also from phase 1 and from any other allied FDF programs. And the idea is that into the new year, we'll be starting to run some in-person sessions and some webinars, and there's lots more to come. And that's really it from us. It's all about connection today. So any questions for Gemma or I? If not, you know where we live. Please do get in touch anytime. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Leslie. Thanks, Gemma. So before we do wrap up, you guys had some unanswered questions before that I promised we'd give you answers to. So I just want to make sure we do actually tick that off the list. Most of you, or some of you, would have, actually I might throw over to Brooke for this because I'm not 100% across it. So Brooke, can you just give everyone an update on the working sessions with NOWS and what the plan of attack is with that information? That may help answer some of the questions that some of the crew have got about the evaluation.
Thanks, Fee. FRRR is working with NOWS to evaluate the Helping Regional Communities Prepare for Drought initiative, which involves all the elements of the program. So that includes the community impact program, small network grants, the leadership, the networking. So NOWS have just developed a framework for that. And one of the things that we're offering with each region of the community impact program is to participate in a working session with NOWS to talk through some of the outcomes of the program, and I guess setting up projects early to think about how they might measure the success of the program. So some of you may have heard from myself to try and organise that with the community lead organisations to talk about how that might look for the region. I'm happy to hear from anybody who has some questions about that, but now we'll work through some of those examples in a working session, and so that might answer some of the questions that we've had around success measures, but what they're sort of in the evaluation framework, there's some short-term outcomes and intermediate and long-term outcomes of the initiative that we'll be seeking to understand through the evaluation, the impact of the program itself, the initiative.
Well, thank you so much again, everybody, for taking the time out of your schedules to join us today. For those, I think I know most of you from my regions anyway. My name is Fiona Bradshaw. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria. And Alicia, lovely Alicia in the blue, takes care of the rest of the country, so Northern Territory, Western Australia, South Australia and Tassie. All of our contact details are on the FRRR website. No doubt you've got one or two emails or phone messages from either one of us at any point in time over the last few months. So if you do have any questions, please reach out. Shannon will, actually, I'll throw over to you, Shannon, just give everyone an update on what the plan is for the next session as far as communications out to the group. It may already be in your calendars, but I'll throw to you, Shannon.
No worries. So everybody should have received a schedule about maybe a month and a half ago of the quarterly webinars. So currently, just because we still were having people come on board into the granting program, a month before each quarterly webinar, I will renew the invite so it updates if there's been any changes in your mailbox or contact person. So that's just the standard now, is that the renewed invites will be sent out, but they should be in your calendar. As for today's content, so this webinar was scheduled for January, but given that, most programs don't kick off, we decided to have it at the end of this year, which means our next webinar isn't until, I think, April. But I will put a reminder in the post email for that when I send it out, when I send out this recording and any resources that we've mentioned.
Just to let everybody know as well, FRRR, we take a bit of a break over Christmas as well. So we'll be closing at 5 o'clock on the 21st of December and reopening on the 2nd of January. So like Shannon said, on behalf of all the team here at FRRR, have a safe and Merry Christmas. Hopefully the rain that we're getting here in Victoria isn't playing too much havoc for those on the harvesters out there. I know a few that have finished, but there's still a lot that are still going. So just be safe and happy, and we'll see you in the new year. Thank you for a great year.